All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Friday, July 24th here. Welcome to Chicago Music Revealed. Of course, I'm Mike Jeffers, Chicago Jazz Magazine, chicagojazz.com, and Chicago Music Revealed, which is what you're watching, episode 80. It is Friday, and you know what that means. That means it is Chicago Blues and Beyond here on the Chicago Music Revealed show. And before I get to that, of course, I want to remind everyone that in addition to all of this other stuff, I'm also the Director of Programming and Entertainment at the soon-to-be opening Epiphany Center for the Arts, 201 South Ashland Avenue, right here in Chicago. We will be announcing a full lineup for September, October, coming up at the end of next week. Tickets will start going on sale, and we're going to be talking all about our live stream stuff too next week. So stay tuned for all of that good stuff. And everyone stay safe, stay healthy, stay away from everyone, stay sanitized. Let's get out of this pandemic as fast as we can. Now, I'm not going to talk anymore because I want to bring everybody on. First, I want to bring on our guest host as usual for Friday. You know it's Friday if Dave Katzman is on the show. And of course, our very special guest, Dave, is a longtime friend of yours. Lil Ed is on the phone, and I've been looking forward to talking to Lil Ed for a long time and catching up
What's
with
going
him.
on?
How are you?
Hey.
All right.
Hey, Ed. How you doing, Ed?
What's going on, Dave?
It's all good. It's all good, you know. We've been doing this show and having a lot of fun with it, and I'm glad to have you on this weekend. Really, you know, it's very cool. Very
Well,
cool.
so before I let
so
you guys jump in, and as I usually do, I always turn over the beginning of it to Dave to jump on. But since we've got everybody's attention here right at the beginning, Ed's got an actual gig with a band in front of people, which is breaking news throughout the entire world these days, because obviously with the pandemic, nobody has that. So he's actually playing a Belleville, Michigan blues drive-in festival tomorrow. And I think what a great concept, what a great idea. And how exciting is that, Ed, for you to be actually able to play with the band in front of a live audience again?
Yeah, that's very exciting and very scary at the same time. I've never played in a drive-in before, and with a lot of cars. I'm thinking maybe some of the people will probably be sitting on their cars too as well. So that way I'll get a chance to reenact with some people, interact with some people. So I think it's going to be fun. It's just a blessing to be able to play with the Blues Imperials and get together and that energy at this time in our lives, you know.
I will tell you this, that I know a couple production people that did something similar to this up in McHenry, because I wasn't sure how that was, and it was like 2 weeks ago they did like a drive-up festival, music festival.
Yeah.
And man, people pulled up there and they partied on top of their car and they were cheering. And some guy had like a big RV that pulled in with people and they were barbecuing and cheering. So I think you're going to have a great time.
Okay.
It's like a big tailgate.
Yeah, right. It's a Lil Ed tailgate party, man. That's what's happening tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, on that note, everyone's trying to be creative. Los Lobos on the 4th of July did a drive-in and it went really well. But in Europe, I just saw an article on a band that set up outside of a hotel that had balconies in every room. And they rented out all the rooms with balconies for 4 people. And they played live to the side of a building. And
cool.
It's weird. Yeah, yeah.
Hey man,
it's a weird world, man.
You gotta figure something out to make live music happen these days, and I'm glad people are getting creative. Of course, with artists and musicians, everyone is creative to begin with. So I'm glad everybody's jumping on the creativity stream. We're gonna make this work. We're gonna get out of this pandemic, and soon enough we will be able to see Lil Ed and the Blues Imperials performing live at a venue near you. But until that happens, this is a great alternative. So congratulations. I'm glad you're able to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Dave, take it away, Dave.
Well, I'll mention that other thing later. But Ed's doing a residency up in Hainani next month, so we'll talk about that later.
Awesome.
Ed, how the heck are you, man? Hey, bud.
I'm just here, man, trying to do what I do.
Well, yeah, I hear you, and you do well, man. I tell you. You know, I want to give the people out there. We got a lot of people listening, and I'm sure everyone knows who you are, but just a little bit of history. Let's start out with the Blues Imperials. How long have you guys been together? I mean, I remember when none of us had gray hair and we were all skinny and stuff, except for Pookie. Pookie's never been skinny. But
Yeah, yeah,
how long has
yeah.
this been going on, man? How
It's
long is
been
this?
going on it's been over 33 years now.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Well,
sir. About
I get,
34, about 34 years now, actually.
yeah, I guess I was around right in the beginning because that's about how long I've known you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, back, who knows where? Yeah, I don't even remember meeting you. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. But I kind of want to get into your style of guitar playing and kind of the roots of that. A lot of people who know you know that your uncle was J.B. Hutto, who was
Right.
instrumental blues guitarist in Chicago, kind of the crossover from the old, well, first off, he came out of the whole Maxwell Street thing with Robert Nighthawk and those guys.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the first generation of electric, not kind of, it was the first generation of electric blues that came up from the Delta. And
That's right.
tell people about JB Hutto. I mean, I knew JB very well. I mean, boy,
You
could he
know,
drink whiskey.
well, he did drink for a while, but he had to stop, because
Right,
he had that tumor in his head.
right.
But he had to stop. But anyway, I remember the days when he used to come over to the house and they'd set up garbage cans in the backyard and JB would walk those garbage cans. He'd walk on top of those garbage cans playing his guitar, and and I remember that was the most exciting thing in my life to see him do that. Him and his
How
band.
old?
Oh man, I
How
was
old?
7, 8, up to at least about 12. Yeah, yeah, I was a
That
really,
must have been Paul.
I was a really young tot, and the thing is, we had a big backyard, and the lady next door had a second floor porch, really huge, and my aunts would send the kids up on the porch, and we'd be looking down because we wasn't allowed to mingle with the grown ups. So
Hmm.
we'd get up there and look, and JB would be playing and walking those garbage cans, and it was like the most fantastic thing I've seen in my life. You know?
I can remember hanging out with JB Hutto and Luther House and then Wise Fools,
Yeah, yeah,
standing at the bar with those guys. And that, I'm not, we don't need to talk about drinking and stuff, but both those guys sobered up later in their lives, and I did too,
yeah,
to a point. And,
yeah.
but back then, those days were crazy. I mean, Mighty Joe Young and everybody in the other room, and
Oh,
the bar was
yeah.
filled.
JB used to
You
take
know,
us to bars, Wise Foods Pub, and we
yeah,
would
man.
see. I've seen I've seen Holland Wolf there. You know, I've seen a lot of musicians. It was a whole lot of musicians. BB Odom, BB.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, oh
what's the other guy? BB something. I've seen
yeah.
them. I've seen them playing
Well,
together.
Bubba Barnes, Bubba
BB
Barnes.
Odom and BB something. BB Jones.
Okay,
BB Odom
okay,
and BB Jones. I've seen them both together, and I actually thought it was BB King in the lounge in
that's
the
funny.
club when I was passing by, and I looked at it, and it took two of them to make one BB King. But the fantastic thing about this, how BB moved his mouth when he played.
Hmm. Yeah,
These guys was doing the same thing.
the same thing.
They was
That's,
moving their mouth and twisting their lips, and one was singing and the other one was playing, and it sounded just like BB King was in the room.
there you go. Yeah, it was amazing back in those days. I mean, for people who don't know what Wise Fools was, it was a bar between Webster and Belden on Lincoln. And at
Yeah,
that time in the 70s in Lincoln, on Lincoln Avenue, there were probably from Armitage to Wrightwood, there were probably 15 live music bars.
oh
And you
yeah,
could actually make a living just playing Lincoln Avenue.
oh yeah,
And then if you went around to the suburbs, you really didn't have to leave Chicago too much, even though you wanted to. But
right.
it was amazing how much music was happening and how much back then the real magic happened. And Wise Fools maybe sat 40 people at the most. and the kind of music that was played there was just outstanding. And your uncle was a big part of that. You know,
Oh yeah,
and,
JB
yeah.
was right in there. I remember going there, seeing JB play, and one night he slipped. Uh, he was getting ready to come off that little stage they had, and he
Uh-huh.
slipped and he fell flat on his back. And
Oh,
me and Pookie, my brother, we was reaching for him, and he shook his head and all, and he laid there and he just kept playing. He never missed a note, you know.
those were some crazy good
It was
times, man.
amazing, yeah.
So did you did just to keep a little bit on JB? Did he kind of uh, give you early mentoring and slide
Yeah,
technique
he
for your
said,
guitar?
you know, he noticed me trying to peep in the, because we, like I said, we couldn't mingle with the grown-ups. We had to stay in our rooms when the grown-ups was having fun and drinking and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I would go and be peeping I'd be peeping in the living room where everybody was at. So he actually called me in there and asked me that I liked what I heard, and I said, yeah. And he said, well, what is it that you heard? I had no idea what it was. All I could say it was music, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he said, well, what do you like about it? And I could see that slide shimmering in the darkness, because you know the rooms were, we didn't have a 40-watt bulb, so it wasn't a lot of light, you know.
Hmm.
And he would, and I told him, whatever is that on your finger shimmering, and I love it. And he took me on his wing from that.
Well, there you go. So
Yeah,
for the audience, if people don't know, um, you may have heard Ed, but you may not know his technique. He plays in an open tuning with a slide, and
right.
he's one of the best around, without a doubt.
Well,
And
thank you.
you play an open E, right?
Open D.
D. Okay. Okay.
Open D. Yeah.
Have you ever played in standard tuning or anything else?
I'm fiddling diddling it. I'm not. I mean, I've been playing in open so long. You know, it's kind of hurts my fingers to try to make those chords. I can do a few of them.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the flip of that. I've been playing standard so long it confuses me to play slide and try to get the same stuff. So
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to
there you
I want to
go.
jump in a little bit because we're talking about your uncle and everything. I mean, I'm always curious, Ed, what was like your first gig? I mean, if you're playing and your uncle's teaching you and you're around all of this music constantly. We had Kenny BDI Smith on last week, and he was around, and you know him really well too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He was always around that music. You were always around music, always around some of these legendary blues guys at the time. When did you know you wanted to do this for real? And what was like? Do you remember your first gig that you played and went, man, this I could do this forever?
Well, the first time I actually played was with my uncle, JB.
Oh, okay.
First time, he came, got me and my brother one day. We had no idea. We we had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we was just going ride. He told us, he said, "I'm taking you with me." He said, "Put get some changing clothes, because I'm gonna take you out after that. After you go with me." And we was like, "Okay, yeah." So we got our little changing clothes, and he actually picked the clothes. We was wondering why he was getting our dress shoes out and our suit pants. And and he threw us in the van, man. And next thing we know, we was with his drummer. What was that drummer name? Uh, I can't remember his drummer, but I remember
I
he.
I can't picture him. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Uh, anyway, his drummer. We knew his drummer, and we
Mm-hmm.
said, "What you doing here?" He said, "We're going to play, man. We're going to play." And Uncle JB had guitars, drums in there, and bass in there, and everything. But he had taught us enough to be able to play behind him, because we was playing behind him at our house when he'd come over.
Okay. Yeah.
So he knew that we was able to do it, you know. So
That's
we get to
great.
this place. We get to this place called Vegetable Buddies. It was
Vegetable buddies.
yeah, in South Bend, Indiana.
Oh,
You know, here's two kids. We going down the expressway flying. JB's flying down the expressway. We have no idea what's going on.
That's great.
So we get to the hotel, and he gives me a room with the drummer and Pookie rooms with him. So we gets ready, and we're like, well, we going out, Uncle JB? He's like, yeah, we're going out. And he says, we're going to play tonight. So we're thinking we're going to be in this little bitty club,
mm-hmm.
or in somebody's living room.
Mm-hmm.
And we walk up to this place, and this place is huge, man. The hell, about 1,000 people look like to me. This place. It was so weird because it had these tree trunks for tables.
Wow.
And they were slanted. Wow. They were slanted. All the tree trunks were slanted. So we're on this big wide stage, and JB, we start setting up, and we're like, JB, we gonna play here? She's like, yeah, what do you think I bring you here for? So me and Pookie scared to death. This is me and my brother. We scared to death. We're shaking and
Pookie plays bass. Yeah.
Pookie plays bass. And we're shaking and trembling. And JB looks at us. We did our little, I guess it was a sound check. I don't know what it was because all I know, JB.
You're probably shaking in your pants, man. You're probably scared to death.
JB hit a couple of notes, and then he looks over at me and he says, "You ready?" And I go, "Yeah." And he cuts out with a shuffle. Well, that was right of me and Pookie Alley, because this is what he had been teaching us.
Yeah.
He cuts out
That's
with
great.
a shuffle, and we was right on top of him. We were so scared we couldn't do nothing but stay right on top of him. People just jumped up, started dancing, man. We were hollering and hooping. We had never seen this. And then
That's great.
and then we got excited, so we really started playing really hard there. So JB, all the songs that JB learned us, he was playing in those grooves and patterns. So we know what to do. If he played the boogie woogie, we was right on him,
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, me and Pookie, we looking at each other, we smiling, and we turn around, JB's gone. We hear the music. He just jumped off the stage, walking these tables, And we looking for him because we don't know where yet. Then all of a sudden we look out in the crowd, and he's out there walking these tables. And he gets so far out that he turns around and he looks at me, So I'm so excited. My tongue's hanging out, JB's doing his thing. These people are hollering and hooping. And next thing I know, he looks at me and he begs for me to come. And I wondered, I had no idea why he gave. JB always had the 100-foot cord, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this particular night, he gives me a 100-foot cord too. But I had no idea. I'm thinking, man, why is he giving me all this cord? And he looks and he begs for me, and I'm shaking my head no, because I'm scared, man. I'm scared, And he gives me that look, Parents back then had a certain look. They could look at you, and you knew if you didn't do what they say do, something was gonna get hot that night.
Whoa.
And I walked up to the edge of the stage, man. I'm scared half to death. I jumped off the stage, hit the floor, squatted, and I heard something go rip.
Oh no.
And I knew it was my pants. And immediately, and without even thinking, I just sprung back up, man, and got right back on the stage. And the people,
that's too good.
Man, the people went crazy. And I don't, I would never be able, I never tried that again, and I never will be able to do it again. I'll tell you, and JB, he laughed till he cried. 'Cause he was,
That's so
you know,
funny.
it was so weird. And when he got back to me, when he finally got back on stage, he bagged up and bagged behind me and looked, and he seen my pants had ripped. he just he just laughed till he just laughed and tears come out his eyes.
So how old were you, Ed? How old were you?
I was, man, I think I was about 18, 17 or 18.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and, and Puka was even younger than me. I don't even know how he got us in the club.
Yeah, well, things were different then.
And I remember the guy said to him, JB, you know them kids, you don't bring them kids in here, so you better not feed them no liquor. And you know what he fed us?
Hmm.
Irish coffee.
Irish
Irish
coffee.
coffee.
He gave us Irish coffee all night. And you know what's in Irish coffee, right?
Yeah,
It's
Irish whiskey.
After a while, me and Pooh was feeling really good. You
That's too good. That's
It's
ritual,
crazy,
man.
man. But that was my first gig, and you know what? I'll never forget it. And I can always
I'm
see
sure.
myself springing back up on that stage. You know, and I don't know. That stage was pretty high. I don't know how high it was, but that was the that was the quickest thinking I ever did in my life.
Well, it's
Well,
interesting too because I mean, you did that, and then you must have been hooked, right? So did you got back into? I mean, did you keep playing with JB then, or
Well,
after that gig, or how?
after that, and we was on our way home, and I remember Uncle JB saying to me, "All right, we're gonna fly next week." And I said, Uncle JB, I'm not getting on no plane. So I said, I'll go anywhere with you, but I ain't getting on no plane. And he
so when'd
laughed.
you finally get on a plane? When'd you
He,
finally get on a plane?
he laughed till he cried, but he said, "Boy, I ain't gonna put you on no plane. I know you're scared to fly. When you'll learn sooner or later you're gonna have to fly." And he was right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So is that how? So that's how you got started. Were you starting to play with him pretty regularly then after that?
Actually, next time he seen us again, because he went to Europe, I think he stayed over in Europe for like almost 2 months.
Okay.
And when he come back, I was playing in clubs.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
ga- he
Wow.
gave you
and
that push, right? That motivation
yeah,
just
yeah.
pushed you over
I
the edge
remember because
that you could do
we
it.
was playing in the club, and the people were just kind of sitting there looking at us.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those clubs. I guess they didn't really care that much about the blues, and we was working our butts off, and Uncle JB coming there, and he looked around, and the people were just kind of like sitting there, and Uncle JB got on the stage and cussed the people out, told them, and just clap for these boys. They working, and the people started clapping and hollering. And JB, he looked at me and he said, "Go get my guitar," and he ripped the place apart.
He did.
People were falling out drunk.
That's a great story, man.
Yeah, JB was like that,
Did he teach? Did he
Well, I
teach
got it.
you? Let me tell you one more quickie, Dave, and then I'll turn it over to you since we're talking
Sure,
about it.
sure, man. No
Did
problem.
did he? He must have taught you a ton about your stage presence too, because I've seen you play a million times. The energy flying off that stage and the excitement you whip people into a frenzy. Did you learn that from JB? I mean, is that something that
Yes,
you
I
learned?
did.
Yeah.
That's where it come
Yes, he
from.
did.
That's where it come from. And you know what?
I,
Everything JB did, I was watching, bro,
Yeah.
because it was
well,
so
I got.
exciting. You know.
It was. I got to say one thing, man. I mean, I was around when JB was playing, and I was around. I don't think I knew you right when you started, but pretty early on. And a lot of people don't know how close the two of them are in their performance. I mean, Ed really learned. He was totally mentored by JB, but also kept the thing going. And that kind of house rock and music is really rare in the blues. There's very few people that are really rocking it in the straight style of blues. There's a lot of rock and roll, or there's a lot of blues rock, but this is not blues rock. This is boogie, and the guys that were doing it aren't around anymore. And Ed is kind of keeping the flame on, alive, and also puts on a hell of a show. I mean, right? I don't know if you still do it, but spent many years getting on his guitar player's shoulders, and they'd walk through the audience,
Yeah.
and the two
Well,
of them
Jay,
playing.
he always told me to play with heart. Don't play
Mm.
just to be playing. Play with heart. And
Yeah,
that's what I loved about him, Jay, because he taught me how to feel the music instead of just
yeah,
play the music.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
and I
Yeah,
and
well,
heart. See, I live in my music. I don't just get up and play it and say, "Oh yeah, it's okay." I live in it. I live in it. I sing it, and I feel it, and I tell the truth with it. It's not about it's not about just making up a story and make things rhyme. It's about telling about your lifestyle and what
Mm-hmm.
you heard and what you learned.
being genuine, being
Right,
genuine,
right.
and it comes across in your music so much, man. I mean, I have never ever, and I mixed you hundreds of times, and I've been around when you were playing, and I wasn't mixing, and I've never seen an audience not react to you. And there's not a lot of players that can say that they have that kind of consistency. I mean, there's a lot of great players, and I'm not dissing anybody, but there's an energy that you get on stage, and the band does. I mean, the band's been together for so long, you guys don't even have to look at each other, and you know where you're going in the changes and
Oh
everything
yeah,
like that. I mean, you know,
yeah.
and that kind of magic. You
My
guys
guys
are your
know
guys.
I like. My guys know I like to improvise too, as well as play the music that we've already done. But I have more fun improvising. I'll just start off something, you know, and
Yep.
go from there. I don't have to. I don't want to be just trying to play everybody else's music. I like to just jump into anything. If I feel it, I'm gonna try it.
I love it. Well, and you know what though, that's one of those things. And I mean, Dave, you can talk to this too, because I mean you're an accomplished guitarist, and Ed, but I mean that's so hard because you guys were both talking about this just now. Is that being in the music and getting the feel of the music and having it ingrained in you. It's something you can't teach. You can't say, all right, pull out,
Right.
page number 12 in your guitar tablature and this is called feel. You can't, it's not there, man. So,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can say it, but if they don't feel it, they
Yeah,
can
I ain't
feel
gonna do
something.
nothing.
but I mean that,
Well,
and
one of
that's
the things.
what separates the masters, right? I mean, that's the deal right there. That's it.
Well, that's who taught all of us younger guys
Yeah.
too. I mean, watching, I mean, like his uncle and Nighthawk and Otis Rush and people like that. I mean, Mighty Joe Young. I mean, these people. It was all heart, and Ed does that, and I try to do it. I know every time I played with Ed, I have a ball. We've jammed a few times over the years, and we've always had a good time because there's a common respect in the feeling too. And what Kenny was kind of talking about it last week, Ed, he was talking about the actual language of the stage.
Yeah.
How you turn to a drummer and say, we're going to do this kind of, we're going to do a John Lee Hooker beat, or we're going to do, whatever, a slow blues, and then the guitar player, fast change, blah, blah, the keys. It's all very quick conversation and abbreviated words. But once everybody is on the same page, it's wide open for what you're talking about, Mike, the feeling.
But
And, and that's
Ken and them guys played me. They know I ain't gonna tell them nothing. I'm just gonna jump
right,
into it. Because
right,
that's how JB
right.
did it. He didn't say to me, "Well, we're gonna do a shuffle and we're gonna do it in E. We're gonna do it at this tempo." He said, "Okay, let's do this," and he cut
Right,
out.
right.
You know.
Well, another thing about the old guys, and it's kind of changing because there's a lot of young guys coming up who need the information. But if they just start out, and you better find the key, and you better find the change.
That's right. That's where
And I'll tell you, my right hand is always played so lightly in those moments because I'm trying to find out where everybody's going. I'm kind of playing, but I'm not really in it yet. And then maybe second, third bar, I got it. But you gotta hold it, and you better be on your toes,
I
man.
did the same thing with Uncle JB when he was playing, and I had to feel where I was going because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every once in a while he turned to me and said, "Hey," or "B,
Yeah.
B," but he wouldn't tell me nothing else.
So
You
the first couple of choruses, Ed, you looked like you knew where it was going, but you
Yeah,
didn't sound quite like it.
oh yeah, I was fumbling and fiddling around.
Our mind was screaming at us where we were, and you're on stage and your body looks like you know what to do. You know,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm giving away too many secrets, Ed. I don't know.
Well, you know what? It's good for people to know that because there's a lot of musicians out there will just stop playing
Yeah.
because they don't know where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But see, they got to learn. You got to keep going. I tell all the musicians that want me to ask me. I say, listen, if you make a mistake, don't stop. Just keep going.
That's right.
Yep.
Sometimes it's better to make it twice, and just keep going.
Right.
Then
Well,
you'll find out where you at.
Well,
no
you know,
one remembers mistakes unless you stop and let everybody know you made one.
that's,
That's
know,
right.
that's right. That's
The
right.
audience doesn't remember it.
Your audience is looking for a good time.
Yep.
Right.
If you make a mistake, they ain't gonna even know it unless you let them know you know it.
That's right. Yeah, there might be
Yeah.
two people that might notice the mistake, but then if
Yeah.
you stop, 200 people will notice the mistake.
That's right. That's right. 'Cause if
Well,
you
every
stop,
guitar
everybody
player
gonna
out there, every drummer knows your mistakes, right?
Yeah, every
Right.
drummer gonna know. The band gonna know it. They gonna look at you real
Yeah.
funny. They gonna look
Right.
at you real funny. It's a lot of times. Those guys, I heard them in the background. I make a mistake. They go, "Hey, oh!"
Oh,
But you know what? I never stop though. I just keep going.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah. Well, like Luther said,
Sometimes-
leave your ego
sometimes
at the door and come to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes a mistake can be a good thing.
That's right.
that's true too. That's
Yeah.
true too.
Yeah. You look at Muddy Waters, them guys, they made mistakes, but they twisted it up and made it look good.
That's right. Or if they did it twice, then they meant to do it.
Yeah, if they do it right, they meant it. Sometimes it sounded real good. And they make mistakes. Now I know what he's doing.
You got another one for Ed, Dave?
Well, I've always, you've been with Alligator so long, and finally at this time, in which is a strange time, obviously with COVID, but also in the record business, Alligator has actually built a roster around you and a couple other artists that is probably the best roster of the blues business right now. I mean, with the young guys and stuff like that. But what do you think of your relationship with Bruce and how everything's gone? And what can you say about Al?
He's like a dad to me, a young dad.
A young dad, okay.
Yeah. He's like a dad to me. I mean, me and Bruce stuck with me through all my hard times. And I had some hard times out there, Dave.
Yes, I do. We all did, buddy. We all did.
So Bruce was there for me. He never let me down. He never rated me or nothing like that. He stood behind me actually most of all through those few years that I was having problems.
Right.
He's one of the best guys in the record business that I know. I wouldn't trade him for a million guys out there. I think Bruce is one of the guys that will stick with his artists. Well, I know this for a fact. He will stick with his artists. He will make sure they're treated right. He'll take care of them to the best of his ability. That's what I really feel about Bruce.
Yeah. Hey,
he's just like family.
Talk a little bit, Ed, because I know that you were, you've been with Bruce for a long time. So talk a little bit about how you and Bruce met, because he used to go out and scout. I interviewed him last year at the Blues Fest and when his book came out and all that. But he was like one of the one guys. Him and Bob Kester and a couple other guys. They'd be out scouting and checking things out, especially Bruce.
Yeah, when I first, I had no idea who Bruce was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even care about a Bruce Ziegler at the time. To tell you the truth about it. Dave Well, my old rhythm player, and Dave, you know Dave Well.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dave very well. Yeah. Mixed a couple of his albums with, yeah.
We was playing at Blues on Halsted, and I know you guys know where that's at.
Yep.
So we were playing in Blues on Horses, and we was rocking the place. And Dave kept, pump, you know, poking me inside, saying something. I said, man, what are you, what? Well, you know what I said. I can't say it on the radio.
God.
I said, man, what do you want? You know, and he said, there he is. There he is. I said, there's who? Who are you talking about? He said, that's Bruce Ecklauer. He's the record producer. I said, okay, so what? You know? and, and this little guy, had a little beard and glasses on, looking around. And so we come down for a break, and he walked up to me. He said, hi, I'm Bruce Ecklauer. I said, okay, yeah, how you doing, Mr. Ecklauer? And he says, yes, I've been listening to your music, and how do you know all these old blues songs, you know? So I started explaining, well, I learned from my uncle and stuff. And he said, yeah, well, you know, I'm doing a debut album. That's what I had no idea what that was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was a lot of musicians, because me and my brother Pookie, we was planning on trying to cut a 45. Back then they had these booths you could go into, and they had these little record makers. You know about them, Dave?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
And you could go in this booth, and all you had to do is bring the music, and you could play the music and sing and make a record.
Wow.
And it was $100 to do it. It was $100 to do it. And then you can have somebody make copies of it. And that's what me and Brooks was trying to do. But we wasn't making but $25 a man at the time. So when Bruce told me about this album, I said, hey, man, he said, well, you just do 2 songs. Well, that was enough for me. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't care if you just wanted to do one song. I just wanted to get on a record. Well, they called it get on wax back then.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So I said, okay, no problem. You know. Next thing I know, we went to the studio. I come straight from the car wash into the studio. I had never been in the studio in my life. I didn't even know what a studio looked like. So Bruce took me around and showed me all these little baffles and stuff he had stuff. So we sat up and we started playing. And of course we had to make a beer run before we started playing, you know. So we started playing, and we're having a good time, and people is in the back there hollering and having a good time. So I started to playing just like I would play at a club, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I started walking the floors and doing back bends. Yeah, after a few beers and everybody hollering, I was feeling pretty good, you know. and Bruce came out, and I wouldn't stop playing. I just kept doing one right after the other one, you know. And Bruce came out and he said, hey, hold on. He said, he said, you know what we've cut 30 songs in 3 hours.
Oh man.
Damn.
Yeah. He said, you know what? Let's do an album. And I said, okay, that's fine.
How many times did you do 30 songs in 3 hours these days?
Yeah.
No way. No way.
So that's how that first recording on Alligator came out?
Yeah. We did 30 songs in 3 hours. We just kept playing songs. Because I kept jumping into one song after another because I was excited.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, man.
And I was still in the music, and we still do it the same way right now today. We try to do less time as we can. You know,
more like
every once in a while, Bruce might tell us to do another song, do it over, or something didn't go right, then we go back and re-correct it. But we pretty much do it the same way right now today. I just don't have. I like to do it and get it done. You know,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
and that's how you keep that energy, right? I mean, because if you have to go back 6 times to do the same tune, you're not going to have the same energy as if you hit it the
That's
first time.
right. I mean, when we did chicken gravy and biscuits, we was done with that thing so fast, man, that is will. You know.
Yeah, that did great for you, man. You know, last about a year and a half. When did your last album come
Uh, 2016. Yeah.
out? Okay, really? Okay. Well, whatever it was, I was shopping over at the Devon Market, which happens to be across the street from Alligator Records. They have a warehouse there in a building. And I'm coming out of Devon Market. I'm walking across the street to get on the bus, and sure enough, I hear Lil Ed's music blasting out of the warehouse. I kind of peek in, and there's my buddy, all my boys, and they're knocking it out. And you know, the music is just so infectious, man. Your music just really makes it everybody smile, man. I gotta say, and it was so great just standing on Devon waiting for the bus, listening to your live. You know,
Yeah,
it's really good.
I used to take the bus from the west side over to the barn just to go over there and pick my check up.
There you are.
You get off on one side of the street and get back on the other side. Is that how it
That's
works?
right. That was a long ride, but it was worth it, baby.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Well,
man.
hey, Dave, you got anything else? Because we're cranking here, but we're already about 45 minutes in. I can't believe it.
No, you know, really, you know, I could talk to Ed for like 2 days straight, but I mean, for the show, yeah, no, not really. No, I think we've had a good time. What do you think, Ed? Got anything to say? You want to?
I'm getting ready to eat
All right.
dinner. And
I got to make dinner. Yeah.
yeah, I really appreciate you guys for doing this. At this time, you know, right now with this epidemic and stuff going on, it's hard on all the musicians, not just one. It's hard on all of us. And
Yes, it is.
if you know, our fans is our life right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they the ones always, they the one kept us going when we was having the good times, and they still trying to keep us going now. It's a lot of, I do a lot of streaming, and I get donations. My fans,
That's great.
I love all my fans, and I know they love me because they helping me still, you know, try to make ends meet, and that's a good thing.
Well, that's one of those things, you know. That's why I started the show, and that's why Dave and I started doing this Friday Blues hit, the Blues and Beyond, is because, you know, there's all the fans that are used to going out and enjoying music and enjoying, you know, culture and experiencing it, and all the artists. And, you know, we always talk about this on the show. This is like the worst industry to be in for this, because it's like the venues were the first to close, and you know they're going to be the last to open, unfortunately,
right.
just because
and that's
of the whole
really
thing.
bad right now, because you know they cutting funds and everything, but still, you know, if they talk about going back to phase 2 and all this, if they do that, you know, where is that going to lead me?
Right.
I won't be working at all.
No,
you know,
no. And it'll destroy all the clubs too. I mean, you know, it's
right.
It's horrible.
And I'm thinking that I'm gonna have to start filing applications, because I can't do anything else. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I hear you.
It's really unbelievable. But hey, you've got a gig tomorrow, and I know you're going to have a blast out there. And we'll steer everybody over to Lil Ed's Facebook page, because I know I've seen you doing some live streaming stuff. So you've been doing that every once in a while, right? You don't have a regular schedule.
Oh yeah.
Yet.
Oh yeah.
So whenever you feel
He's
like
also
it.
Ed's got a residency playing solo outdoors on the patio up at Hainani in August. He's doing 4 dates.
Oh, nice.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And I played up there with my wife last weekend, and it's just so nice. It was the first time I played in front of an audience since March 15th. And it wasn't a big audience, you know, maybe 30 people or something, but everyone was distanced. Everyone was wearing masks unless they were drinking or eating. And it just to have the interchange between the audience and us, it was such a relief, man. And so if any people want to hear a little bit of live Ed, a live Ed, go up to Hainani in August. Check their website, and they should have the dates and stuff like that. But I believe it's mostly on Saturday nights. So
Oh, that's
it
perfect.
is
Well, that's good, man. Hey, you know
for
what?
Fridays.
That's what all of us, musicians and creators and stuff, something good always comes out on the other side of a horrible, horrible situation. And you see, I mean, how everybody's sort of trying to weave our way through this and make something good out of a horrible situation. So, I'm
Oh
glad
yes.
I'm glad this kind of stuff is popping up and happening. And that's all we can do is hope this
Yeah.
thing ends sooner rather than
Yeah.
later, and we
Well,
get to see you live again.
I have faith.
Yeah.
God's gonna pull us through.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. You got to have faith these days. You can't. We ain't doing this by ourselves.
No.
We got to have.
Right.
We got some help.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
and I know God's gonna pull us through it. And that's what I'm living on.
That's it. Well, hey, we agree. We agree, man.
Yes, we do.
All right. Hey, Ed, thanks so much for jumping on today. Good luck with the gig tomorrow. Have a great time. And
All right. Thank you so much. You too, Dave.
Hey, brother, it's good to talk to you. It's been a while. It's really enjoyable. So
Okay.
it was awesome. All right. Hey, thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
we'll talk soon.
Take care.
All
Okay.
right. All right.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was a great time. I knew it was going to be fun. We had a little technical difficulties at the beginning, but you know what? We worked through it. We got it happening, Dave, and we made it happen for us.
Yep.
And another great interview, I would say, if you don't mind me saying so for ourselves.
Not at all. They just every interview we do, it's like it's great. It's so much fun.
Well, now you've just
everyone's got a
just
story.
jinxed us. Now we're gonna. The next
Oh
one's
no,
gonna-
no, it's not a jinx at all. In fact, next week we have Jimmy Burns.
Oh, Jimmy
Delmark
Burns.
recording
Oh, a
artist.
legend, man. Oh, man.
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's just getting better and better.
Yeah.
It's every one of them has been great.
It has.
Yeah.
No, so I appreciate you always setting this up. I'm glad that we're doing this on Fridays. I think all of the blues fans and music fans need to have these blues hits once a week at least to hear from different musicians and the stories they're telling and everything. I guarantee you a lot of the people that are listening never have heard these stories before. So I'm happy we're able to do that here.
That one story about his first gig, I had never heard that.
Oh, really?
That is such a wild story.
Oh,
No, I've known this guy for 3-4 decades. I've never heard that. And he's been, Ed and I have really been around each other quite a bit, and we're good friends. And I never heard that one. That's a real winner. I mean, that's a great story.
That was a killer story, man. That was a killer story. And you know what? It fits in perfectly because he went down, all his energy, hit the floor, popped back up, split his pants, got back on the stage, and it's like kept going. Bingo.
Bingo. All right, Mike.
All right,
Another
man.
good one.
Another good one. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back with Jimmy
You too.
Burns next Friday. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, talk to you later.
All right,
Bye now.
All right. Another successful Chicago Blues and beyond. And thanks to Dave Katzman, as always, for being on there and setting this whole thing up. It's always great to have him. We had a little bit of a Skype thing at the beginning. We were going to do Skype, but then, of course, technology always gets in the way of a good idea. And we were able to just do the old-fashioned way, call on a cell phone. Like, that's the old-fashioned way now, is calling on a cell phone. Whatever. All right. Hey, we made it happen. So thanks so much for watching episode 80. Now, I would be remiss because it is 7:07, and I think the Cubs are playing right about now. I think they're playing at 7:05. Opening day is tonight for both Chicago teams. It's 7:07. I need to go because the Chicago White Sox start their season at 7:10. Go Sox, go. As I always say, thank you for watching Chicago Music Reveal. We will be back here at 6 p.m. Monday, Central Standard Time with episode 81. That will be announced over the weekend. Thanks everyone for watching, everyone for sharing, DMing, leaving us comments, liking us. Go Sox, go Sox, go Sox. I will see you back here next week on the next broadcast.